Hey everybody, Matt Drewette-Card, Curriculum Coordinator for MSAD 46. Thank you very much for watching this short video. This is going to be just a brief introduction or tutorial for how to do a Zoom meeting. People are using it a lot, and I know a lot of you are as well. So there are some functions, there are some ways to do it that I can help you out with, ways to get started. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. And there we go. All right, so you can see there's a bunch of some things here. So as we get started, one of the things I want you to notice is I'm going to be working in between two different platforms, and I'm going to talk about them both in a moment. But to get started with Zoom, the first thing to do is go to this website, zoom.us. That's where you can create your account if you haven't yet. You can use your AOS 94 account. With that, you'll be able to get some updated features because you got a basic account. We're not going to pay for it yet, but for that one, for your basic. But what you'll get is you'll get a bit of enhanced basic because of the changes that have been made due to the coronavirus and COVID-19 outbreak. So this is where you go to create a meeting. So when you're ready, you sign in. You can sign in with Google or sign up with your Google account and log in that way. Now, it might bring you to your settings page. That's great. That's one of the places I wanted to show you what to do about your settings. You can always change your profile. Your profile picture is what happens when you join a room and your video isn't on. That's what's seen behind. Sometimes you might see just a blank screen and a name. That's because they haven't put their profile picture in. Always nice to add a profile picture if you can. You can get a personal ID. That's not a big deal. That just means that it's just your ID. No one else will ever use that ID number for a meeting. So there are a bunch of settings you can change, date and format, but there are a couple that I really want you to get to know. Number one, we've already turned this on for Google Calendar, but make sure you can allow your Zoom to get calendar events and to sync your contacts. That makes inviting people a lot easier. Also, if you come down here to settings, you want to make sure that a lot of these are turned on. So things like host video, participant video, when they turn on telephone and computer audio, that means that people can do either way, can connect either way, either for internet or through the telephone. And there's a bunch of other little settings you can do, whatever you want. There's a couple that I wanted to show you too. This is a big one and kind of an important one, and it talks about some of the importances of doing a Zoom meeting. You can set it so that you mute your participants when they get into the room. One of the big things that I've seen is that a lot of folks will start a room and everyone's talking and everyone's got their microphones on. And what happens then is everyone's microphone's on, everyone's talking. And some people then know how to mute, some people don't. Then a reminder goes out, hey, remember to mute. Well, this is a great way. Just using this little tool right here, mute participants upon entry. You change all your settings for your meetings through the web, through a web browser, okay? You don't change them through the app, which I'll get to in a minute. A couple of other things, you can allow a chat, you can be a private chat, you can send feedback to Zoom, etc. Who can share? So if you're doing screen sharing and if you want your participants, so if you're working with students, you want to see their screen, want to allow them to share their screen, you can do that. Or you can disable it. You can use annotation tools. So if you're sharing a screen, you can take notes on it, you can write on it, etc. People can do that. You also have the power to kick people out as part of as you're hosting a background. As you're hosting a background, I wrote virtual background as you're hosting a meeting. And so one of your choices that I was just showing you was if you want to allow remove participants to rejoin, so you can kick them out. Can they come back in? And that's a decision that you can make for yourself. Another advanced thing that I think some of you should think about doing is the breakout room. The breakout room is an opportunity if you have a large group of people. Let's say you want to do a jigsaw activity. You can break your 25, 30 groups into different breakout rooms. And so everyone comes together and you set a certain amount of time. And then they can have the conversation, then come back as a whole group and share out. It's really powerful for bigger groups. And if you have a lot of kids coming together for a class, it's a great way of doing it. And so there are all different kinds of settings you can look at and play with. Waiting room, that just means that your students or your participants can't enter the room without you until you set up the room, until you start it. So if you have students, you might not, and you're not there yet, you might not want them to get into the room yet if you started the meeting or whatnot. So that's a kind of a safety protection one you might want to consider using. So there are a lot of settings, but I would say the ones to focus on the most are one, waiting room, look about that. Two, the virtual background's fun, but not everyone can do it. The breakout rooms are really important. Oh, I forgot about this one, the whiteboard. Make sure that that's turned on, because when you share your screen, one of the options you'll have is to make your screen into a whiteboard. Very powerful tool to do both showing what you're working on and also have your students do some collaboration. Make sure you look at who can share, etc. And what was the last one that I wanted to show you? Oh yes, connect your calendar. Make sure you connect your calendar, which was back in the beginning. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. We're going to come back to seeing my face with my awesome untidy hair. So how you start a meeting is quite simple. You can do it either through the web when you're on the website. Oh, I actually should be sharing my screen again. Let me do that again. So you can be looking at it through the web again. So if you just come to Zoom, anywhere in the Zoom web platform, you'll see it'll say schedule a meeting or join a meeting or host a meeting. And so those buttons right there, you can create, schedule, join, etc. Easy way, you can create a web link right there people can use. Another option is there is, if you, I don't know where the exact website is, but if you go Zoom download, what it'll do is it'll bring you to the download center for Zoom, and you can download a client for your meetings. And one of the things you might be able to see is I have it as an app right here. You can't change the settings from the app, but what you can do is you can launch all of your meetings from the app, and I think it's a lot easier to use than in general than the website. I just think it's a lot easier to access. So the app, when you open it up, it looks like this. You'd have to download it, etc. And that's a meeting I have coming up. But you'll be able to this was start a meeting right here. It says back to meeting because I'm in the middle of one right now because I'm using Zoom to record this. It's kind of a meta Zoom, isn't it? You can join a meeting, schedule a meeting. So you see what I mean? It's just very easy to manage. One final thing that I'm going to show you that I want to, just of settings, and then I'll go into a couple of quick little pieces of, I guess, etiquette, are the settings. So you can look at a lot of different settings, reaction tone, how you want it to look. Always check your video. Make sure before you want to start, because make sure that things are the way you want it to look. There are options to mirrors. I mean, you can flip your mirror around, etc. Touch up my appearance if you're vain like I am, and so etc. Also, your audio. There are different audio options. So you can make sure your microphone's working, make sure your speakers are working. All very important things to check before you, if you're starting a meeting, before you either start it yourself or even before you join. Recording options. How do you want to save it? I save my recordings to my hard drive, and then what I'll do is I'll upload them to YouTube from there. And it's very simple at that point. So one of the things to notice is when you are in a meeting, one of the things that you can do is you'll have a toolbar right at the bottom. It's going to be, so I get my finger right down here, okay? And it'll have like mute and stop video. Oh, excuse me, that's my phone. Telling me I have a meeting in 5 minutes. Mute, stop video, manage participants, etc. If you open the manage participants button along the way, you'll have the ability to mute everybody, to unmute everybody. You'll have the ability to lock the meeting down so no one else can come in. You'll also be able to kick people out if they're being inappropriate from that way. There's another option for sharing screens, so that multiple participants can share their screens simultaneously, etc. And it also has things like the breakout rooms, and you can also do little reactions, as you see at the top. I never get that right. Top corner there, either a thumbs up or and applause line. So the key to a Zoom meeting, number one, like I said, it's very easy to set up, very easy to use, and there's a lot of tools at your discretion. A couple of things when you're setting them up. One, create the link ahead of time. What I would do is create it through Google Calendar, create an event, create a meeting time there. You should be able to create a Zoom link right from there now. And so create that. Use your calendar as an invitation to send to people. Do it all right through there if you can. Do that ahead of time. Also share out the link again if it's getting close, if you've done scheduled the meeting well in advance. 2, when you're setting up your meeting, mute everyone upon entry. It's just one of those things that people will learn as we get better at this. But when you come into a room, just mute yourself. And if you're not muted, just get muted yourself. So that's a good tip for you as well. Just mute right away. Say hello and then go to mute. And then if you're asked a question, you unmute. It's very easy to do. Other tips and tools, I would just say, think about lighting, think about if you can, but otherwise, do what you can. Be as best as you can. No one's expecting these to be, high quality or, like this is definitely not high quality. So Zoom is very easy to use. There are some very simple controls. If you just want to have a meeting, if you just want to get people together, I've used this also with friends to connect with them. I've used this with our family. Some of my kids just did a partner reading with their cousins who live over in the Freiburg area. So that's another way it can be used. And it's super easy to set up. Once you have your account, go to zoom.us, set up your account, and then you'll be able to start playing around. If you want to have a free play space, you want someone to be a guinea pig, I'm your person. Contact me, send me an email, send me a text, and what we'll do is we'll set up a time and you can create your room and you can try all the different tools and I could walk you through it one at a time. Okay? Good luck. Stay healthy. Stay well. See ya.